Okay, wow. I just watched a video that just kind of blew my mind a little bit. I didn't know that there were multiple endings that varied so much on the Veilguard. I just beat it. There's no intro today. There's no anything. This is the I don't know show. Plymouth, you gotta stop. I don't know what you're doing. I can't play right now. I'm trying to do this live stream thing. You are just too much, girl. You need to go beat up the two cats we got you. Come on, man. Come on. Come on. Okay. So, I don't know what the I don't know show is going to be. Real talk. So, um, instead, I'm just going to play Veilguard. Uh, I'm going to play Veilguard on Friday nights, 11:30, for this foreseeable future. I beat the game on console. So, I just watched this video on YouTube from Jackdaw. I did not know what the various endings were, and I didn't know how widely they varied. I thought that they might vary somewhat based on your background and your faction, but apparently it is more like Mass Effect 2 and 3, um, where if you don't get your people together, then they don't fare as well. But I guess as a completionist or whatever, or like someone who wanted to know what happened next with all the characters, I got everybody to like the Veilguard status just because why wouldn't you? Like everybody's storyline was kind of like okay. The whole thing about the game was they cut out all the fluff apparently. So there's no fetch quest. There's no this. There's no that. All the eye rolling stuff they got rid of. So all you have left is the meat. So at that point, how is it possible that you don't have the entire Veilguard to Veilguard status by the end of the game? Like, what were you doing? Like, I just by default, I stumbled into that. The only thing I didn't do was unlock the secret post credit scene. 'Cause I guess there were three locations where I was going to find some circle thing, and I think I may have seen one of them because I did defeat the unknown, the big giant dead undead dragon in the necropolis. I defeated that guy. So, and I looted the room. So I feel like I had to have seen that one of three pieces. But like I'm not gonna lie, I'm not always a codex person in game, and like I stumbled upon my favorite YouTuber watching her talk about the codex. So I'm like, I ain't gotta really go into the codex and like that. Now I can just go on YouTube. So after I beat the game, now it's time to go to YouTube and see what people are talking about and what the codex people are talking about from getting into the reading. So far, everyone is enamored with the. I shouldn't say everyone, but the things I've read, people are enamored with the end of the game and the what's going to happen next. My questions were less about that, and I felt like maybe I may have missed some information, but there was a line that Solus said where he was like, "The Teventer mages free me from my prison." So, and then there's another part where Harding is talking about the belief in the Golden City and the idea that the Golden City may have been Solus's prison. So is Solus the maker? And if you consider that he made he made the dagger that Mathal used to slay or at least like like mess up the Titans. They're saying that the dwarves came from fallen Titans, so I don't know. Are they saying that did I don't know. Like there's some questions I have that I was hoping that the internet, like, would be theorizing about and so far I haven't seen anyone theorizing about those things. Like I'm assuming then that it's obvious that Solus is not the maker, that Tevinter mages, or like the Chantry of Light. I kind of I'm hoping for like a reset, like an update on the lore with new information, so new takes on it, because that's where I'm curious. One of the reviews I really like listened to very few reviews. One of the reviews was and before I get into game, I'll explain a few more things. One of the reviews was kind of like it answers some questions, but it leaves some questions unanswered as well. And I'm like, I can handle that as well. Are my speakers? You know what? Something is not. Oh, okay. So I can tell. Let's see here. I gotta fix something. Hold on. I got. Okay. Now, the thing about it is, I don't really want the. Okay, let's see if this is gonna work. Okay, so. Oh! I wonder. You know what? I'm gonna leave it like this because I'm just gonna turn it down in my ears to save my ears. Okay. And hopefully the mic is picking up properly because I got my in-game volume is lower than my mic, so I should be all right. Hopefully I'm not blowing you guys away with the game sound. I'm gonna turn down the volume a little bit more. Okay. It has been weird. Um, a lot's happened since the last time I streamed, and I was going to give a quick update. So, uh, I was planning on doing a huge, like, not huge, that's a silly thing to say. I was planning on doing some charity stuff. I wanted to raise money. Um, and the week I had allotted for it was the week after of the release of this game. But just, as luck would have it, my power went out for pretty much that entire week. You know, um, whatever day that was, I think I had about maybe a day or so to play. And because I had just taken the car to the shop and we had spent a bunch of money we didn't have to get the car fixed, uh, I missed some hours. And so I played a little bit, recorded a little bit of my gameplay, called it a night early to get some sleep because the next day I was going to really hit it. And 2:30 in the morning that night, power went out and didn't come back on for a while. um, it's been up and down ever since then. Had some other issues that had to deal with, and it kind of is what it is. And then there's like this whole like political thing that I, I don't know. You know, my Instagram is pictures of food I'm cooking, and I don't know, man. Like that's the name of the show. Uh, I don't know. So I'm just gonna play this game, you know. And so I really enjoyed the Veilguard. I really enjoyed it. I think for reasons that if you are playing the game are obvious, and with everything going on in the world, I I I feel like that's why there's no planned DLC. and this game is going to stand alone as a certain kind of game that we may not see for like 20 or 30, maybe 40 years. And, at least not by a major game studio. You know, it did a lot of things great. And um, there was the things that I didn't like, man. We'll talk about them, but like if I was still a video game reviewer, I don't know. I was so glad when I didn't review video games anymore because I don't like giving scores. I don't like reviewing video games or music or movies. I don't like reviewing stuff. You know, it took getting that job to realize I didn't enjoy it. Um, but yeah, this game, like, to finally finish it, and the stuff with Varric, oh my gosh, it was like it was kind of actually nice to enjoy it as a single player game the way it was meant to be played, just me in the game, And that last act was tough. Like, I, it's a heartbreaking game. It really is, but in a good way, you know. So my personal playthrough, I'm kind of weird about it, you know. Um, right now, I love the fact that the game kind of hints that you're a Grey Warden is the default, you know. Kind of makes sense. It's all coming full circle. They talk about it a couple times in the game, but this is the final blight. There's no more archdemons, you know. So this is it. This is the end of the blights and how they've affected Thetis. And they keep talking about like the world. Solus talks about like being able to travel the world with his Illuvians, and we see a ton of destroyed Illuvians, and we talk about people across the sea, and we talk about the blight and it being this underground thing with the Titans, and we don't know how far that war with the Titans spread. We don't know what the other parts of the world are like. We don't know how they were affected by that war. You know, the scene with Harding and the mountain range, and you see that Titan laying there, and it's like we're gonna see all that stuff. I am not going to do an A to B playthrough. I am going to play play the Veilguard in a very like haphazard sort of way, um, trying stuff out, talking a bunch of crap. Um, I have a bunch of characters I've made just to play, just to live stream with. They are a mix of like fun concepts and players straight up from my old D&D character sheets, um, as best I can recreate them. Um, I think I just got done making a Legolas archer, who's a veil jumper, and I think I'm going to actually no. I think I'm going to start. Yeah, I made Legolas. So I tried to make one character per faction. Now all my characters on my Xbox, which only allows for 3 game saves, are Grey Wardens. I had uh, I beat the game with a rogue, and I have a warrior and a mage, and they're all 3 thorns. They're all Grey Wardens, all humans, all like it's basically this a similar dude. Like they're variants of the same dude essentially. I thought that was a fun thing to do for my first playthrough. But after I beat the game, I immediately wanted to beat it again with a Grey Warden elf because there were conversations to have with Davrin and with Bell that I would like to see if it's a little bit different if I myself am an elf. So, but that's my personal playthrough, and I'm at this point because I'm just sort of like trying to figure out what I'm doing with this channel at this point. Um, I don't know how much like real like gameplay in terms of like I don't know like my serious game probably still gonna be on my Xbox, you know, where I'm like grinding really hard. Now I am a little bit nervous though because I just found out that you can kind of get different endings based on the status of your squad and other indicators, and so that is interesting. Okay, so from this screen, these are is it six? It is six cats, right? So Legolas is obvious. Legolas from Lord of the Rings, blonde elf with bow focused character. Kira is one of my D&D characters. I was playing a homebrewed game back in 2010, 2011, and he had a steampunk sort of motif that was really cool. And I wanted to play a character that was, for lack of a better terms, a magical lockpick. So she was sort of a treasure hunter type character that could use her magic to open doors and like she was an escape artist sort of character. So she got the team, and I joined the game late, so I didn't want a character that like sort of fit in too much. I wanted a character that kind of stayed around the edges. So I kept thinking about Doctor Strange in the Infinity Gauntlet comic book, where he kind of got them from point A to point B and protected them in harsh environments, but he wasn't really a combatant. So my character in that homebrewed game like helped them like escape a prison, helped them like I think steal a jewel. So she had like levitate, knock spells, like she could like cast illusion, like, but she didn't have a whole lot of offense. She wasn't a fighter like that kind of like even in any sense. She was really kind of a character that could help the team like pull off the heist kind of thing. And so unfortunately, I feel like the beautiful, glorious, awesome, super dope, kick-ass combat, which I feel like what I mean, chef's kiss. Still I can't really make a magic lockpick because even a rogue in this game doesn't pick locks. Like they completely got rid of that concept completely in this game, which you don't even notice. Like that's the first time we even mentioned the fact that a rogue doesn't open chests with a lock. Like he doesn't have any unlocking skills. And now I think about it, I don't think a rogue unlocked anything in Inquisition either. Um, I think I can see YouTube chat maybe, but maybe hopefully if someone says something to me, it'll be on my screen. But if someone says something, hey, what's going on? So yeah, so Kira in this, I just put my mage character as a Mornwatch character. Um, she's no connection really to to the D&D character other than her what she looks like. That's pretty much it. But I couldn't make a magical lockpick. Steve Mercar is sort of okay. I think I'm gonna play with Steve first off the rip, so you can see Steve. I'm kind of proud of how Steve looks, but Steve is a tribute to Captain America and the idea that I do have a D&D character whose name I'm pretty sure on the sheet was named Steve or probably Steven, and he was a marshal, and he had a shield with we put returning on the shield so you could throw it, and he ran around with only a shield, and as a marshal, which is a prestige class character build for like either Pathfinder or D&D 3.5, but essentially he could like rally troops. It was kind of a bard like almost character because his like his influence could like raise your stats and stuff. And again, that kind of character doesn't necessarily translate to this game, which is again like I'm not even these are not critiques. This is just how it is. But still, so that's kind of like the spirit of Steve. But also, my first Mass Effect dude who I beat the game with actually was a white guy named Steve because I made him based on Steve Rogers, and I don't remember why. It's 2008. My original dude was like African American, and I think I had a corrupted file or something like that. But I beat Mass Effect 1 with Steve. He looked kind of like an old face Steve Rogers, and so this Steve Mercar, is kind of like a tribute to that because I did this after the update came and I got all the Mass Effect gear, which I adore. Eventually you will find um, other gear. Okay, and then King again is sort of like a video game sort of thing where ever since Battlefront 2 on Xbox, I have used the name King like for player one type character creation. Like usually, and I don't remember why King. It's not like a thing like that. It might have been that it was short and sweet in Battlefront, but it's not something I would put like on a video game scoreboard. It was offline, and I honestly can't remember why. But then I have a character in my comic book stuff named King of Swords, and that could be a reference. But in D&D, I do think I did have a rogue named King who was a pirate. And so this King is the Lord of Fortune. He's more based on my D&D character who was a pirate in the Elster Vale. Auric Deriva is Kira spelled backwards. I'm pretty sure. Looking at it, yeah, that's right. Okay, so Auric and Kira in my D&D sheet were opposites, like Loki and Sylvie. Going back to, and it wasn't. It was only because basically I had made Kira for a friend's homebrew game, and then I had made Auric before for my regular D&D group. I made Auric because I wanted to try and build a high level sorcerer. I just made Canderous from like, I think he was like level 12 or 13, and then I played with him a bunch of times, and he leveled up over the course of playing with him through this long campaigns. But I wanted to practice, like, because I was a new player, like cracking open the books, reading through spells, and with the intention like building a high level character. And Auric was my sorcerer because I thought that a mage, like if you play like, because we were gonna go to, I think we were gonna go to a convention like a I can't remember the name of the convention, but we were gonna go to one where we would play at tables all day long, and with different DMs, you have to be careful because certain DMs might be really particular about the rules, and there's a lot of rules. And so, like for wizards, you're required to have spell components technically. Now, I haven't played with that many DMs, so I don't know how many of them like really enforce that. But spell components are a part of a wizard's like, and like a lot of DMs from conventional wisdom, what I've heard, will just assume that you have those things. But it's like you got to have like the Eye of Newt and the bullfrog legs and the elf root all together in order to turn that dude into a frog or whatever. And so it was easier to build a sorcerer because a sorcerer doesn't require those things. There's all these, it's a bunch of trade offs. You know, a wizard is potentially could be more powerful, um, but it's like Batman versus, I don't know, some other guy who isn't quite Superman, because a sorcerer has a set amount of powers that don't change very often, and a wizard can know they're gonna fight a sorcerer and go into their spell book and get the best spells they need to fight that sorcerer, and that's kind of the difference. So like Auric was my attempt to make a powerful sorcerer. and so he just had like he was a glass cannon. He all bunch of powerful attacks and stuff, but if you punched him or stabbed him, he'd fall apart. And then finally there was Canderous, my main like dude. Canderous was a dwarven paladin of Clangeddon, and I had a long story. This character is just a dwarf warrior because when I bought like every version of Dragon Age I've played, I've had a dwarf named Canderous. Even my very first hero of Ferelden was Canderous, a dwarf. It was so funny because I had never, my first time playing through, and I have no idea what's going to happen. And I found that having a baby with Morrigan was just a little silly with Canderous that first time around. Because he's a dwarf, and she's like, "Oh, you're so sexy, with a little bald head." Like, yeah, and Canderous is based on a dwarf mini from Wizards of the Coast, and so like my D&D main is a white dude because he's literally the little mini. So Canderous is the little white dwarf who with bald head and a little beard. Now this Canderous is not the hero of Ferelden, so he looks more like he's a little black dwarf. Uh, Having had so much stuff spoiled, I don't know what I'm gonna do in all these different playthroughs, but some of them, just to see it, I have to like not care. And okay, I'll be fair. The first time playing through Mass Effect 2, I had like a perfect playthrough, having no idea that that there's like a failure. Like everybody made it through alive, and I have no frame of reference. I don't have any spoilers. Hell, I think I reviewed Mass Effect 2, and that may have been why my first playthrough went so smoothly because I had to have the game on a difficulty level that let me get through it fast enough to get the review in. I don't know. You need the Wayback Machine to find my reviews of games going back that far. Um, Let me start playing. So I just beat the game with a rogue, and I got Steve a warrior, and then I can grab Canderous a warrior, and I feel like I'm going to grab Steve because let's see here, because he's not a Grey Warden. And so I'm probably going to play with Canderous the least. So this is Steve. And I think I did a pretty good job making Chris Evans as my Steve. I don't know. It's not perfect, but it's not bad. And so all this is now spoiled. I know. Okay, and like, okay. I watched the 20 minutes of gameplay, and so I saw it, and I started playing the game, and every once in a while I'll be like, you know what? I don't think Varric's really there, right? And then the other day, because I was out commission, I couldn't play the game for a whole week, and then I couldn't play the game for another 3 or 4 days after that because the pipe burst and we were flooding everywhere. Like it was bad. I couldn't play the game for like 11 or 12 days ultimately. Like and I could play it, and when I could play it, I could play it for like a few minutes here and there, and then I couldn't play it for hours and hours and days again. So when I finally got to play it, like it been a minute, in terms of like I think everyone's reviews and stuff are now like 10, 11 days old. Tracy, my girlfriend, she read something, and so she read, you know, a review. Oh, I gotta do something because wait, hold on now. I gotta turn off the tutorial because I just now I've been through it. I don't need it in its. Let's just see.
Here we go. Okay.
I helped a lot of Minratha's slaves escape to freedom the night I met Varric. Then the Magisters cracked down in retaliation, and the Shadow Dragons decided I was
Yeah,
too much trouble to keep alive.
maybe it's like my imagination is doing a lot of the heavy lifting, but I feel like that looks like Chris
We could have
Evans.
taken a stand and dared the Magisters to
And
come
look,
after us. At
I
least we
got
didn't fall
lucky
because of one of them.
because that's the second human preset. Like that's the first white dude with like different hair, different facial hair. I think maybe it gave him blue eyes, but like, yeah, I didn't really wait, oh wait, I didn't do much. I just
Meditation
happened to
and
notice
use of
that
blades.
once I
This is
changed the
like applying
hair,
cover to cover a
he
dozen times
looked
during weapons training.
like he just looked like him. So part of me thinks that he doesn't look like him at all, but I just have that image in my head and I'm just tricking myself. And he doesn't look like Chris Evans at all. I and it doesn't really matter to me because the Legolas I made doesn't look like um the actor at all. It doesn't look like him. And I had a picture Orlando Bloom. I had a picture of him out to try, and I failed. Like he doesn't look like Orlando Bloom. But I feel like I stumbled upon Chris Evans. You know. Uh,
Working drills until I had the perfect strike ready to face anything. Everything came so easily back then.
I had made three characters, three Grey Wardens, one warrior, one rogue, one mage. And in the beginning, they weren't all humans. It was
Varric and his life lessons.
it
The
was
elves
a
were supposed to stop
human,
Solus.
two
But
humans and an elf.
they got
And the
way too
elf I
hard
had
for the
actually
Shadow
gotten the
Dragons.
farthest with,
You'll always show the
but I
face of a
just
hero who can get it done.
hated his face. And it happens. Nice, sorry, it's not me.
No
I
one
just
ever
hated his
saw
face.
the
I
real Solus.
hated he was always
His
grinning
face
like an
got seen a
idiot,
lot.
and he just
Not the only
seemed
scars.
like he
Some that
was like
sharpen
this,
now, some that don't.
I
But
don't
Varric
know,
will never be that.
happy-go-lucky
And he believes
dummy
in me
who
now.
didn't understand how
I can do
serious the
this.
danger was. Like I made him like he had no. I need some stoic behavior. I need some reflection. I mean, I
Headley
don't
didn't
I
let this
didn't buy
happen
him
until he was
being
carrying
serious.
weapon units.
I
He told me no one would
and
think of ruling like a game
the
of
elf I
chess.
just
Which
made for
means
my new
determining what
playthrough because
marching orders he would
like I
give
said I
me.
want to be an elf for this next playthrough on my console. I it was a design flaw on my part. The elf I just made, the new elf, Rogue again. Um,
We fight each other, we oppress the elves. We're
he
all
looks more
fighting.
serious,
If our lives
and it
get
took more time
sentimental
with
like a war game,
the sliders.
any marks we leave on the world will be scorch marks. Right, that's better.
And
Now, how do I connect to Solus?
okay, having
Just
played DC Universe Online,
right.
I didn't
Let
give
me clear
a
my mind.
single solitary rat's ass about decorating. I mean, I didn't. I might be a solo player on games like DC Universe Online, but the concept is that somebody else might see your lair. You know, they even had multiplayer game modes where they could take place inside your team's like headquarters. So there was a reason to decorate. Um, but this is a single player game, and so I could give up. I don't care. Like I put a few things up, and when I realized that it was these same spots to put stuff up, and you get all these decoration options. And I'm like, and no one ever comes in here like, look, I love that the characters mill about and they move about. That's one of the things I talked about. Wishing was like that in Skyhold. Like Skyhold had all these rooms and stuff that no one ever really used. It would have been awesome if Blackwall had a routine, like he went from place to place based on the time, because that's another thing that Bioware needs to kind of finally come to terms with. Like they got to figure out time in their games. They cut out so much of the fluff that I think they're getting close to being able to do stuff like day night cycles because yeah, there's a couple of missions in the game that the signature Bioware does so many things like better than everyone else, but the things they do bad are like it's like a pendulum swing. So yeah, yeah. So okay, so here we go. We're gonna go out here. Wait, what am I? What's? Oh, I gotta talk to Solus. All right. You know what's interesting?
Back so
I
soon.
mean, he's the god of lies though, because at one point, like Solus straight up like lies to your face, and it's like
Ah,
brutal.
but perhaps I am mistaken. You may be here to correct me. To tell me
But
what concerns
a
your
lot of
family.
stuff gets explained.
Diane, after all, remembered as the god of lies, treachery, and rebellion.
Like his behavior early on is a little like to say it doesn't make any sense. Sounds like a critique, but that's not. It's like for lack of a better term, it doesn't make any sense within the constructs of the world that they are in, not based on some sort of conventional wisdom of our world. There are a couple of instances in Dragon Age that I think like really do that, like Loghain's betrayal of King Calenhad. Is it Calenhad? I think so. Um, it's like it's perfectly inexplicable, and they show you, you know, the influence, but like that the way that character behaves, what he does, it technically doesn't make any sense because there's something there's parts you're missing, and then they give you these giveaways. It's kind of similar here with Solus, like what he says, how he says it, like what his goal is, especially the first few conversations you have with him. It's like, but why though? At the end, he's like a freight train, and it's kind of cool. And I'm getting tired. I've been trying to like readjust my whole sleep schedule because a few weeks ago at 2:30 in the morning, everything went to shit, and it was no power all day, no power all night, sitting in Starbucks charging everything up. No car for the first few days because it had gone to the shop, so we're just like on our Adidas. It was it was tough, and you lose a lot of sleep. And so I have been having a hard time getting. Oh, and I got the dental stuff done too, so I stopped biting the inside of my mouth and cutting inside of my mouth. Like I got a crown in, and uh, yeah. Is it a crown? It's way back there. I had a root canal, and it's a long story. But yeah, so the dental work is done. So I feel like I'm comfortable talking, and I'm not biting myself. Like I used to have a jagged tooth way back in the back up here. I mean, jagged, like sharp. And I would like certain words. I would cut my tongue and cut inside of my. And, oh, no more. Got that taken care of. But I've been having. I just got back from the dentist a couple days ago, and like they do the shots. I had like in my face, just shooting me in my face with needles, and I was all numb. So I guess that's all in the past. But man, I'm starting to nod off. I'm looking at the time, like 40 minutes. Um, Okay, so Cap here will be, and I'm gonna have to keep track of it.
I need to know what the
Um,
gods are planning.
I'm gonna keep track of like
You
the
are
different
asking me
playthroughs
to
when I'm
know
with
what
him
this
thing.
world is privy to.
This
If I
playthrough
am to share it with you,
will be
I need to know
as
what makes you the right person to lead the
positive
world
as
against
possible.
Arcanum and
It's
Gilliman.
Captain America, you know. So I want his
I'm not in charge of everyone. I'm just reading
I
light
want
until
his
Varric is back on his
playthrough to
feet.
be like the one I
I
just did.
understand your fear. Declare yourself the leader,
Ooh,
and
I'm
those
so
men
sorry,
power hungry. No
but
better
I may not
ways to
make it.
conquer.
You
I
know,
didn't say
but
I
see,
was
for me,
afraid.
this is technically like, oh,
Varric
tomorrow's a
knows
work
the
day
world
anyway, so
against
I don't
Gilliman
need to be
before
up
I
all
knew a
night.
friend from Venatori
But
stars.
I was
The
hoping to
Shadow
do
Dragons had a
like,
safe plan, but it wasn't
well,
going to work.
yeah, I'm
So
at
you and
40
Varric led an
minutes.
armed
I spent
rebellion and
way
dealt
too
a
much of this
devastating blow
time
to the Venatori
talking,
army.
but
Don't
technically
you know that?
speaking,
You helped Varric
you know,
pursue
on
the
my
Fanatic
ham
hunt for
radio
you.
show,
It would have been
I hadn't
foolish not
been
to know who
around.
was hunting you.
So
Then
when
you
the
thought
aliens
that it was just like
find
a fancy
the
tale from
file of
when
the
there's something
servers
worth doing,
for YouTube
I'd do it.
and they watch
I
all the
suppose
data,
I was not so different
they'll
when I started.
see,
Started
you
what?
know, and that's what I'm
My
talking to.
rebellion against the
The
Everknows,
alien
the elven
data
gods as you call
dudes
them. They wish to
picking through
reclaim
the
the dominion over
rubble.
this world. To accomplish that, they will need two things. First, the blight. What exists in this world is a bare
Oh
fragment
boy.
of its power. The rest is imprisoned.
And they answer so many questions, sorta. You know, so many questions, sorta. And I think the one thing I want to give the game credit for, because I want to give the game credit for a lot. I mean, it's an incredible game, and I think it is see, I'm probably wrong, but it reminds me of Dragon Age 2 way more than Inquisition. It just does. Especially Minrathous and Treviso. Running around Minrathous and Treviso feels like running around in Kirkwall, and I don't think that's by accident, because Kirkwall is an old Tevinter outpost. And they even talk about that in game. And so the architecture, the the the, the maze like feeling of the streets and stuff, I was like, this is I felt so many times, especially when you find out that like the design specs are almost a decade old. Like that you don't have to have the most up to date graphics card to play this game, technically speaking, right? It feels like what Dragon Age 2 was supposed to be, at least in the level of design and detail, probably just more cities, you know.
What would they need to do to free the
But
blight?
yeah,
And how
running
will
around
they
Manrathus is incredible.
They will need to pierce the
And
veil
like
which the
in
blight's
my
prison.
playthrough,
My
in my
allied
original
friends will need a
playthrough
few artifacts
with
hidden
my
from the
original
They've already
elf,
recovered it from
I
Rachel's.
got
Excellent.
not
Then
far,
they will have to make their
you
way.
know,
That will
but
be
far
the key.
enough.
You said the gods
And I'm
need
starting to,
two
oh
things,
boy,
and the blight is the
I don't
first.
know if I'm gonna make it another 15 minutes.
What's the
I'm
second?
really starting to fall
Follow
asleep.
us.
I think I gotta get into either get into some action
What is
or
the god
just
without
go
the
ahead
singing
and
praises?
call this episode over.
I don't think the elven people will bend a knee to blighted murderous monsters. Agreed.
And I mean, this is spoilers, I guess. I mean, this game is technically relatively new, you know. But
The cruel and the corrupt, who fear their own vulnerability and seize any chance to feel strong. If you hunt them, they will lead you to Algernon and Gilliman.
I'm gonna get more sleep. I should have took a nap like after I made dinner. I made a vegan pizza. We found the cheese that is not gross. Let's see here. Ba, ba, ba.
Thank you. I'll go
Um,
poke with the cruel and the corrupt, and we'll see what we find.
this character I beat the game with, like, had everybody like, you know, I made them all heroes of the Veil, the whole 9 yards. So I don't know what it's like to have characters like not wanna,
Yes,
you know, not digging me
I
and stuff.
suppose we will. And when you speak with Varric, please
See,
tell him that
and this is the part right here
regret.
that is super fucked up because, and this is like the playthrough, why you want to go back and play it again, because that part right there is where you really understand that Solus did that to you. Like, because as I played the game, there were a couple of times, and I remember I had the start and stops. I got my original character to a certain point and couldn't stand looking at him anymore, and like deleted the character and made another rogue, and then like tried to get everyone. I was trying to bring all three of my characters up at the same time, like this switching. But then I got to a point where my rogue, it was just like the combat, the story arc, and everything. Just I wanted to be the rogue, and so I was just pushed on ahead. And so my warrior and my wizard are like, you know, still like in the first couple of acts. I still don't know, because you can accidentally miss stuff. You can like just not notice you have to go have a conversation with someone, and then oh boy, so sorry. You can, and then come back to the lighthouse, and now that little thing has gone over their head. You missed the conversation, and so I got into a habit of not engaging on any main quest like stuff until I went down the whole list of side quests. You know. Okay. So fairies aren't really here.
Solus told the truth about the gods. You heard? It's bad.
Oh my gosh.
You'd seen Demeter's crossing.
And it's one of those things where it's like Memento or one of those movies where you have to watch it again and everything is so obvious. But see, okay. Varric is. Yeah, Varric is my favorite video game character. I feel like. Darth Kreia was like the best character ever for a long time, just for who she was and what she did and how she went about it. I just thought she was incredible. Like I couldn't believe they made a character like that in a video game, and it was incredible. Like, you know what I mean? And it wasn't until we got to Varric that I was like, wow. And I still contend that he is the main character of Dragon Age 2. Like, your character is an NPC in his world, you know. And I think that's a masterstroke. I think it's brilliant, you know. But yeah, Varric is just the guy. And then in Inquisition, it's it's this character that, because the main character keeps changing, you keep getting to know him and respect him or not or whatever over and over and over again. And so you go from the Champion of Kirkwall, the Inquisitor, to this character Rook, and it did feel a little like I wish we'd had more time for Varric to meet Rook. Like, I would not have been mad if the game opened up you're playing as Varric, which that's not unprecedented, but they didn't, they didn't do that. There were times where I was glad that wasn't on the table, because I did not want to play as Manfred. I had flashbacks of playing as a droid in Knights of the Old Republic, and I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. Please don't make me walk through the party as Manfred. Don't please. And they didn't, so it was awesome. Um, but yeah, like, see, I'm falling asleep and losing my train of thought. That was bad. That was bad. Let's see here. I don't want your job. I can't push you.
I can't do what you do. I've barely been holding it together in the short time you've been out. You don't
But
need to do what I do.
okay, so
You just need to get it done.
a couple conversations, and I'm like, no one's talking to Varric. Everyone walks around and chit chats and stuff, but no one's ever in there talking to Varric. That was weird. when you get the opportunity to go to Xenon and talk to the guy at the Black Emporium, there's a whole because okay, Scout Harding rolled with me everywhere I went in that playthrough, in my finished game playthrough, and so she remarks that oh no, you get a letter I want to say where they attempt to buy Bianca, you know. I they're just I don't take death really well, you know. It's tough, and so I felt like it was a it was a beautiful way to kind of do it. Okay, I've already been to the Menace Crossing, like yeah. So I don't I didn't want to like do like the character. I think I have like a couple characters still in Menrathis in the very beginning of the game, and eventually, you know, I'll live stream, you know, one of those because I might decide, you know, next time I'm playing it, I don't want to be Steve and just pick someone else, and that's kind of what I'm talking about. Like I'm just gonna free play, you know, for a while and just talk about whatever comes to mind. Hopefully, I'll talk about Dragon Age, you know. I mean, go ahead and just yeah. But it was tough, man. I had a hard time today because finding out Varric died hurt. And someone else on my squad had died. You know, it was just tough, man. It was tough.
You got any ideas? Nothing. But being a leader isn't about
But everything falls into place and it all makes sense now. You know, you keep assuming that someone else is giving him information, but no, he only exists in my head. And he was put there by Solus, which is wild because if you think about all the times they warned me that Solus could mess with me, even though he's not, you know, he's trapped wherever he's trapped. Like, you know, he was messing with me. Solus was totally messing with me. He created something in my mind that made me think that Varric was still alive. And that's like devious. Like I was hoping kind of to maybe have a angry I want revenge option, but I didn't really see it there. Okay. What I'm waiting for is a chest to appear here so I can get the Captain, I mean not Captain America, the Shepherd, Commander Shepherd stuff. But in the meantime,
Hey, Nev. Hi, Wisps.
Yeah, they're still here, but you're here for leads. You want allies to go after the gods? I've got places to look, if we can get anywhere but Arlathan.
Valara's working on it. What have you got?
Let's start with the angles we know. The gods are corrupt magic personified. First,
Well, I'm sold. Now we charm the crows.
fingers crossed. The demon got his nickname taking out blood mages and Venatori. From everything I've learned, the reputation is earned. I never uncovered his real name, and there's been fewer stories the last few years. But the crows would know. I can set a meeting with their bosses.
man, I am.
Thanks, Nev.
That's what I'm here for.
Time is going so. Oh crap! No, I'm definitely falling asleep. I thought the subtitles from the game were my subtitle at the chat. Like, someone say something to me. No, no, no. Calm down. Calm all the way down.
Resist the gods with our own
Oh.
resistance group.
Okay.
If the gods enter the Empire, our contacts back home might get something.
Oh yeah, I'm a Shadow Dragon this time. I figured Captain America would be an underground freedom fighter, you know? Oh man. Okay. He has a fit. I'm hoping I can get it. I know I can get it. I gotta remember where I got it from. But there's a dude in the game you're gonna meet called the Viper. And you can get essentially Viper's fit. And Viper's fit is like, it's dope because it doesn't have the cape. It actually looks better, I believe, without the cape. And yeah, I might put that on Steve He's a shadow dragon. It fits. Excuse me, gosh. And about your past work.
Years with the Shadow Dragons, and this is the first time we've worked together.
Directly. I gather information for the Shadows. You might have used one of my leads. And I've heard of you.
Also, there was two.
You were right to avoid Minratha's
There's
scepter.
there's
More
two
than one magister
doors
to your head.
in the
It
main
is
room of the
proving
lighthouse.
itself, and with
One
tomorrow ahead,
is pretty easy to unlock. The other one, I don't know. I'm gonna show you. Okay.
You know, I miss the other Shadows.
I don't want to skip conversations because that's not fair to someone
how
who
many of those have you had?
might be checking this. God, hitting my mic. Might be checking this out for the first
So
time,
we talked
but
to the crows in
yeah.
Antiva and the Shadow Dragons in Minrathous.
I wouldn't mind checking in on my neighborhood either. If Balara's ready for us.
Yeah. Should check how things are going.
I am faulty with the wheel. Okay. I ain't gotta do this. I can. Man, Dante, what are you doing? Okay, that's it. That is it. That is it. That is it. While you're safe and sound in the light tower, Steve. Save your game. Just save the game. Save it. There you go. Save the game. Also, okay, so I'm gonna read a bunch of articles, not now, but in my, over some time, because I didn't want anything spoiled. So I avoided a lot of YouTube, a lot of because I was always searching stuff in for Veilguard. I kept getting all these alerts you know. So I didn't see like any spoilery things, but there were some updates and stuff and some quality of life complaints people were reporting that I only saw like the headlines of. I didn't read the articles, but I didn't experience any issues with stability or on my Xbox, like nothing major. Like a couple of times, like literally maybe twice, like my Xbox just turned off. It shut the game, it shut down, went back to the home screen or the home page, and I was like, oh, that's okay. But I didn't lose anything. It didn't corrupt anything, or what? I don't know what happened, but it happened like maybe once or twice. So, okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and call this because I'm gonna ramble on and keep losing train of thought because I am super tired. I've been, in bed at this time trying to get my normal sleep cycle back together. So hopefully, maybe next Friday, I can record earlier or something like that. But all right, we played a little bit and play some more next Friday.